customer loyalty, you need to stand out and you need to really be different. And getting this right is critical, and making sure that it links back to the customer insight or the consumer insight is the key. We'll see some examples. هنشوف مثلا example حق Omo. Only Omo removes stains so well that my children have the freedom to get dirty and learn through play. Okay.
More than using your competition, so they'll believe in you more if they see the end result.
So you're saying seeing is believing. It's the delivery of the product or the delivery of the service.
Also through advertising, like if you advertise your product in a certain way, it will see, like consumers will see it. Oh, maybe this is actually the end result from this product, not something else.
Okay, I like this thought. I want to build on it. So she said something about the product actually delivers, or the service actually delivers. You promised me a 5-star hotel stay, and I got there and it was a 5-star hotel stay. But how can I مثلا deliver this when you have not gone through the experience? Any thoughts?
I think
ممكن بس نبني على النقطة اللي هي قالت عليها اللي هو what I was saying is, she said seeing is believing, the product delivers. How can we show to people that the product actually delivers?
but actually has
Social media.
Okay, so basically people, users talking about you and expressing how their experience was, so engaging with people on social media. Okay,
customer relationships, how they deal with their customers. For some reason the product did not work for them, they could offer them like a substitute, and I think that creates a loyalty with the brand, so I trust the brand more and I'd come back to it. If, for example, if it's a shampoo or anything, I'm gonna keep buying it.
hello. So you're saying something like, I will give you a warranty, I will give you a customer service, I will engage with you, I will replace the product that you're not happy with, or I'll replace the service you're not happy with. This can work as well. Going back to what she said about social media, it's about getting this is what we call, the technical term for it is called testimonials. So it's getting real people who have used the product, real people, not fake actors who did not use the product. No, we're talking about an average real person to talk about their experience and featuring them in their communication or advertising. What else? Expert opinion. That's brilliant. For example, who does this very well? If we think about GSK and their Sensodyne brand, they always tell you that their brand is endorsed by dentists. And what they try to show you, they show you real dentists. They shoot their advertising in a clinic. They bring the whole dentist element to life. And it's not one single dentist. Every time, in every piece of communication, they show different dentists talking and recommending their brand. What else? Free samples. I think free samples is more of a way to get people to experience the product. So it's more of a marketing or a communication strategy rather than an RTB. But other RTB source origin, or where this product was made. When you talk about fashion, for example, when I tell you that this bag was made in France, well, this suit was tailored in Italy. So the source of origin can play a major role. Sometimes it is the ingredients that you have in that product. For example, I'll tell you that Pantene gives you long, straight, and shiny hair. And why you should believe me? Because it has this multivitamin unique product that we have in that shampoo. Or I'll tell you that this shampoo is good and safe for your skin and your hair. So that's the benefit. Why? Because it was made out of organic خلينا نقول ingredients. Here, one mistake that a lot of marketeers make when they communicate about their products or their brand is that they start focusing more on the RTB, on the reason to believe, and they forget to communicate the main benefit. They forget to communicate the point of difference. Remember, people will buy you, will use your product because of the point of difference, because what it offers as a unique خلينا نقول benefit to the customer that answers their need, their insight, and not because of the RTB. So never forget to communicate the benefit. You sell the benefit and not the reason to believe. You sell that this is a fashionable bag that has brilliant designs that will make you stand out in the crowd. You don't sell that it was made in France. Some of the examples I've already mentioned. For example, recommended dermatologists. You look at Dove مثلا in the US, and they use recommended by dermatologists بشكل بشع in all of their communication, and they have an association with the US Dermatologist Association, whatever that is. I'll give another example. Sensodyne in the region, they always talk about recommended by dentist. Pantene, Pro V. When it comes to the fashion brands, they always used to talk about made in France or made in Italy. When we talk about coffee, look at what Nespresso is doing. They are telling you in each and every pack you're buying, this is from Brazil, this is from Colombia, this is farmed in this place or that place. Why do they give you all these stories? So that you believe that this is fine coffee that is brilliant and will give you this amazing aroma and amazing taste. So people do it all the time. The celebrity endorsement. I'm going to go back to the Nespresso example. Exactly. So why did they bring George Clooney in? Because they want to sell you this lifestyle, the luxurious style, it's the reputation, etc. Tamam? And then we're going to talk about setting the brand personality and the tone of voice. And I think this is very important. There are several schools here. I'm just going to go back a little bit to this part. Here you hear people talking about archetypal brands. There isn't one set that is right or wrong, but the most important thing here is you capture the tone of voice of the brand. How do you want the brand to talk? How do you want the brand to communicate? You start thinking about the brand as a person, exactly, and this is where you set it up, and you select also associations. So what kind of I'm struggling with this, it seems. You start talking about associations for what kind of keywords that you want to own. So you start defining that at here. So this is more of the image. For example, one tool that we use is this, which is several dimensions. We talk about the brand personality that you can more or less choose from. Sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, rigidness. So depending on your type of brand, you might want a brand that is daring, or you might want a brand that is upper class or glamorous. It depends on the type of brand that you want to talk about. And here we have to really be consistent. Here is about making choices. You cannot just go and try to be everything and everyone. And again, if you remember the exercise we spoke about yesterday, you remember when you spoke about the Lux consumer and the Dove consumer and the difference between them and how they look at life. This is where it matters the most. Into here, you need to set your brand personality, your tone of voice, etc., in a way that matches this consumer-ish attitude and values. Otherwise, you will never be relevant. If it's not about the shopping list, I want to be everything, I want to be daring, yet reliable, yet trustworthy, yet. It's because if you do that, you are a confused brand. And guess what? Whoever agency, or a creative agency or design agency you're going to work with, you're going to confuse the hell out of them, and you're going to get something that is completely. They tell you that they are willing to go to the max. If you think about a brand like Ben & Jerry ice cream, they are a very socialist brand. they believe in human rights, they support their communities. They want you to feel at home when you're talking about Ben and Jerry. This is why they call it joy for the soul and for the belly. It's not only something that is enjoyable for you to eat. And this is where you set that. You take that and you set the design elements of the brand accordingly. The big failure is when you put this on a piece of paper, but then you don't manage to bring this to life. You don't manage to bring this to life in the brand design, in the brand tone of voice and communication. In the store, when I enter the store, back to the Nespresso example. If you enter an Nespresso shop, they give you this feeling that you are important. Everybody is wearing a suit, someone is opening the door for you. It is as if you are walking into an LV store or a Chanel store. And what are they selling? They're selling coffee. But they have turned something as mass as coffee into a lifestyle. But then they didn't only put it on paper and leave it. It was in every touch point. If you talk about some diamond, there are fine examples. The people who are serving in your store, who are selling your product, these are the ambassadors of the brand. They bring this to life or they kill this completely. In the way they talk to your customers, in the way they deal with your customers. The guy who answers the customer service line. So this is why it is very tricky and very difficult. It's not about setting it on paper, it's about bringing it to life in each and every touch point.
Nespresso? When did Nespresso launch? When was the first time they launched the machine? Anybody have a date? You said 45 years, right?
It was before the investment from a long time ago.
First time they it's the first time they came up with an espresso machine. The reason everybody knows an espresso now is because somewhere along the journey, the brand evolved and they got the story right. Because when they became, okay, we're going to take coffee from something that's a commodity and sell you a lifestyle supported by George Clooney, is when the machine actually took off. Because yes, they got it right now and it's a $1.3 billion brand. But the journey until they figured out exactly what they're going to do with this machine took a while. And that's an example of something that evolved over time. There's a big success now, but it started out with an epic failure.
Okay, we'll move on. طيب. An example from something we have worked on, مثلا a brand like Lux. We're all familiar with Lux, صح? Lux, when you see it on paper, they are talking about, this is a perfect example for your question about someone who has failed. Huh? I think Unilever has failed with Lux drastically. Why? Because when you see this on paper, they talk about glamour, they talk about fashion, they talk about femininity, and they talk about daring women, and you see that in their advertising and their communication. But then you step on the shelf, there's this cheap soap in a normal wrapper that is being sold at 3 riyals it's being sold at 3 riyals on the shelf. So there's a clear disconnect between what they want to do as a brand personality and positioning and how they managed to bring this or did not manage to bring this in each and every touch point. And this was very painful to work on, honestly, because there's a huge disconnect between who you are in reality, in the mind of your consumer, and who you are on paper. And to bridge this gap, one of the two needs to change. And it's clearly a business decision that you don't change who you are on the shelf in reality. But hina, it was wishful thinking in terms of positioning. All right? Last but not least, people used to speak about brand essence a lot. And with brand essence, they were talking about, summarizing everything we spoke about in terms of point of difference, the benefits, etc., the insight in one single idea. This has evolved with time, and now people are talking about the brand purpose. Today, if you think about it, if you don't play an active role if you don't contribute to the society you're living in, you actually get left out. Sometimes people like to think about this as the mission, but here we're talking about the mission summarized in very simple 3, 4, 5 words, one line that says, why do you exist? Why does your brand exist? What role will this brand play in the life of the customer or the consumer? Just a summary of the stuff that we have spoken about today and yesterday. A brand positioning statement captures the overall brand strategy by outlining what? The target, the frame of reference, the point of difference, and the reason to believe. So if you're going to talk about it, if you want to bring or distill the whole thing into a single statement, a positioning statement, 3-4 سطور, and this is something that we would like to see from you tomorrow, inshallah. We would like to see this. Some people call it the value proposition, the positioning statement, different names, but it is the summary of everything that we've spoken about. It's defining who, the frame of reference, so what are you exactly, what is the point of difference that you're going to offer, and why they should believe you. The elements are independent. We have spoken about that. You've seen how the point of difference, how your personality as a brand, how your purpose links back to what? Links back to your customer understanding, links back to your customer choice. فكل element في الbrand heart model ولا في positioning of a brand builds on the other. They are interdependent. You cannot just say, you know what, هذه في حتة وهذه في حتة. You'll end up with a confused brand. تمام? It is critical to establish a clear frame of reference. So what are you exactly? And if you think about it, this is something that a lot of companies, when they launch a new innovation, يقول لك غير. لا أنا غير عن غيري. This is a new innovation. This is something that does not exist in the market. No, you don't compare me to anything else. You know what? If you don't compare yourself to anyone else, to something that your consumer or customer would simply understand, they will not relate to you. They will not understand what you're trying to sell. A clear example here كمان of getting the frame of reference right was the example of Tata that Anas explained yesterday. Another example, when Apple launched the iPhone, what did they call it? They called it an iPhone. So they gave you something in the name that explains what it is. It was completely different from the phones that are there out there. But they have told you it's a phone, but it's a different phone. Give people a clear frame of reference, describe yourself exactly. It's simple to understand. It felt like a very high niche, something only for, it's not for me, it's for people who with high technology intelligence. Said, do you want to say something? Okay. The other thing, the insight about the accepted consumer beliefs, their goals and their aspiration provide the foundation for a strong brand positioning. I've been saying this throughout the day. Without a strong understanding of what your consumers or your customer believe in, what are their goals, what are their aspirations, you will not have a brand that is relevant, that motivates them, that links with them, that talks to their hearts. Don't jump into selling your functional خلينا نقول benefits or what you like about your product or your service. Position it in a way that meets your deep understanding. I'm going to say this again, deep understanding of your customers, what they aspire to have, تمام? Where they want to reach. And again, the point of difference could be grounded in a concrete product feature, but it also should be abstracted to connect with the consumer's goals and deep insights. We've spoken about that. And the job of the brand positioning is never done. And why is that? I think it's one way of looking at it, that things around you change, so you have to keep evolving. But I think the most critical thing here is a never-ending work, because simply it's not about what you put on this piece of paper. If you think that once you have finished this piece of paper, whatever model you're going to call it, brand heart, brand key, brand house, whatever the positioning statement on paper is, if you don't bring it to life and every customer touch point, you did not finish your brand positioning work. It's just a start. So if you think if you've done this and you think I'm done with brand positioning, no. You have to be very keen about how we're going to interact with your customers, how people are going to respond to them on social media, etc., etc. That's why it's a continuous work.
It's easier for you to compromise between branding or finance and quality. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay. So you're saying sometimes because of quality issues, because of finance, because of margin, I have to compromise.
Yeah, when you have a product and there's a branding, but the branding is it costing you so much. Which one?
What do you mean it is costing you so much? So much to bring it to life?
To the brand, yeah.
Okay. طيب. And I think the answer to this is very simple. When you go behind short-term profit, you will get it. But guess what's going to happen to your brand on your business in the long run? It's going to sink. So every time the finance guys decide and dictate what should be done in the business, you know what? You're going to get one good year, and then you're going to have to struggle and even invest further and more in getting it right. And you know what? Once customers and consumers lose their trust in you, because again, brand positioning is not about what you communicate. It's about the experience that customers have with your brand or your product. If you're gonna say I'm gonna give you the most brilliant خلينا نقول lifestyle product etc. And then I come in and find this product at your store in a miserable condition, it smells bad, the lighting is miserable, customer service سيء, you will have to invest much more to change this perception about your brand or your product.
It's a balanced relationship.
I wouldn't say it's a balanced relationship. If you have a strategy for your brand, you know what you want to stand for, and you believe this is going to work, you better invest to make it happen. Do not compromise on your brand quality. Do not compromise on the, I'm not going to say brand quality, I'm not going to say product quality, because it's not only about that. Product quality is just a small element, not small element, it's a major element of the mix, but it is as important as any other element of the mix.